but I wanted to make sure that everyone was introduced to my comrade Tyra Walker, who is the co-chair of the Kentucky Alliance. So I don't know if she's still on here or not. She is going to be working with me as well as Dana Ayana, who is an Indigenous woman, one of the only Indigenous women that has been fighting for justice for Breonna Taylor. And so I just wanted to make sure everybody was on the same page. We're probably not going to be able, I personally will not be able to attend weekly because we have so much going on and we're still fighting here for justice. But I definitely want to stay plugged in, and I want to kind of, I guess, get that figured out of how we can stay plugged in, who is going to, like, what jobs we're going to do. So I'm really excited to hear this work that's going to be pushed out. And we're definitely going to keep you involved. But I'll let Tyra speak for a minute. She is the co-chair. She is also a teacher like myself. And I just want to open up the floor to her now.
Thanks, Tia. Okay, Tyra, you want to speak now?
Can y'all hear me?
Thank you. Yeah,
yes.
Can hear you. Yeah.
Okay. Yes. Thank you. Yes, my name is Tyra Walker. I am the co-chair of the Kentucky Alliance, as well as an educator here at Jefferson County Public Schools in Louisville, Kentucky. I am listening to the great conversations. I have made some suggestions and I had some questions because I have not been able to read over the entire manifesto. As Tia said, we are still busy here. However, because of certain circumstances, I may be more accessible right now than Tia is. So I will definitely put forth an effort to be here weekly until, if I can, I will let you all know if I can or cannot attend. I just, with the discussions that you all had over, I don't know, is this a good time to ask my questions or make some suggestions?
You might as well go on.
Okay. Okay. So the questions I had, because like, again, I haven't been able to read over the entire manifesto, but I plan on doing that and making my notes and any questions that I may have for next week's meeting. But have we discussed healthcare and how can I say it's not equitable with people of color? Do we have that in the manifesto? And then we also talked about someone, I can't remember who it was. I can't remember who it was, I'm sorry. But he discussed the length and how long the verbiage of the manifesto was. So I didn't know if there was some way we can, or if whoever's going to be working on it, if there's some way we can merge some of them together if they're pertaining to the same issues.
Tyra, would you be able to submit amendments to it? My proposal is we have some amendments admitted perhaps by a certain date, because we're going to return to the subject of the manifesto. You'll be able to talk about it then. Would you be able to do that? Yeah.
No, were you talking to me? I'm sorry.
Yes, sorry, talking to you.
Yes, I'm sorry.
We're talking about the manifesto. We are going to invite comrades to submit more amendments, so you could perhaps put it in as an amendment, and then we're going to discuss this again in a couple of weeks, and then you can introduce what you want to say. Is that okay?
Yes, that would be fine.
Excellent. Yeah. I mean, at the moment, we're just more or less trying to form like a political committee that will sort of pull things together and bring everything, keep us going. Really, is that all right? Yes, that's a fair answer. Thanks, Tyra.
You're welcome.
Okay. Anybody else want to put themselves forward for the political committee? We've had quite a number of volunteers already, but I mean, the more widespread around the world we have people on it, the better, really, obviously. Anybody want to say anything about what a political committee should do? And Tara, you've got your hand. Have you got your hand up again?
Yes, I do. If we're working on different policies, that should be something that the political committee should be working towards.
That's right.
Is that something that we're working towards? And I'm sorry, because I'm just now coming in, so I have some questions, and I don't want to take up a lot of time.
Well, there's no other hands up at the moment, so you might as well ask.
Okay. So if there are policy issues that we're working on, and I know we were talking about the climate and things of that nature. So maybe that should, anything dealing with policies, that should be something that the political committee should be working towards.
Okay. Roger, we've got volunteers already, haven't we? Are we seeking some more? I've not got any hands going up at the moment.
Do you want me to read the list of who's volunteered so far?
Do the comrades want to know who's volunteered so far? I mean,
Yeah, well, so far, from Britain, me, Ed, Pam, John, Karel, Dave, Jabu, and now Felicity and Jim. From Ireland, Jimmy and Finn. From France, Olivier, Vincent, and Pierre. From USA and South Africa, David. From South Africa, Rob. From Denmark, Rolf. From Iran, Aman. From Belarus, Hannah. From Sri Lanka, Saranapala. From Germany, Jörg. From Brazil, Silvana. I think that's all so far.
I mean, that's a really...
all right, and Laurent also, thank you, from France.
Yeah. I mean, that's a really excellent start. I think the proposal at the moment is the political committee will meet once a month. So it's not like a weekly commitment that from the political committee will establish a committee to do a bit like the day-to-day running of things. Hang on, what's Dave said later? Yes, that's right. Yeah, we'll elect from the political committee. We'll be elected like a executive committee that will do the day-to-day running of things. Leslie.
Yeah, just to say, Pam, it's a monthly meeting. Just to say, Pam, if it's a monthly meeting, I would be okay for a monthly one.
Yeah, that's the idea. Yeah.
You got me?
That's fine. Yeah, I mean, the committee that ran things will be probably meet weekly, but that's you don't have to go on that. You know. Yeah. Okay. So
I can also commit to monthly.
Yeah,
I just thought I heard somebody say weekly.
I put in the chat.
That's great. Are you noting all this, Roger? So we've got 2 more volunteers there.
Sorry, just can you tell me again? I'll add them.
Tia and Leslie are volunteering on a monthly basis.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Very good. Thank you. Yeah, sure.
So I have a quick question since I'm just now jumping in. How many committees is there? Is it just this executive committee and a political committee? And yeah, let me just ask that first.
Yeah, there's both. There's a political committee, which hopefully will cover various parts, you know, all parts of the globe, hopefully. But also we need a committee to actually run things, which will be elected by the political committee or chosen in some way, who will do the day-to-day running of WIN, and that will probably meet weekly. But I think we come to that question after we form the political committee. Go on, Laurent. Yeah.
Oh. Excuse me, comrade. Are you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
My English is very bad, and it's difficult to me to speak English because I am French.
Okay.
I am a teacher in France. I'm a teacher of history and geography, and an activist in the trade unions, FSU, Fédération Syndicaliste Unitaire in France. And I am agree with the manifesto and the WIN, and I agree to participate the political committee.
Excellent.
with my French comrades. Then Roger said the names, and we are to fight against capitalism. We are to fight to socialism and to support worker class politics, independent of bourgeoisie. So we are to fight against, and I think we are to build the new international that the world working class need today. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Laurent. That's brilliant. So Tyra's put a name down. Now you don't have to volunteer now. If you want to go and think about it, you can. But obviously, if you do want to volunteer now, now's your moment. Does anybody else want to come into the discussion about this? Anybody else wants to suggest anything that we should be doing or want to ask a question? Roger, have you taken note of everything? Do you feel we should leave it at this for today?
I've yes, I mean I've
Mm.
got the list of everybody who's volunteered. As you say, if anybody else wants to volunteer, of course the doors are open. The political committee will have to meet. We'll have to decide when to meet and what its agenda is going to be. I mean, what they want to discuss, and at a certain point to elect an executive, or should we call it maybe an organising committee? Might be a better word for it, actually. Unless anybody has anything to say, I think maybe we should close the session. I know Comrade John Dunn is going to make some closing remarks. I actually, if I could just say a sentence, just to say, I'm absolutely overwhelmed by the success of this conference. We've met over 4 different sessions spread over the entire month. We've had really thorough discussions. We've had comrades participating from, I think, at least 20 countries. We've come on enormously in the last period, WIN from being a very small group based in just a handful of countries. We've enormously expanded our circle of contacts and our active participation. I think this is really the beginning. It's the end of the prehistory, if you like, of WIN. Now that we've started with a political committee, I think now this is the real history of WIN beginning. I think we're going to make huge strides forward. I would say one thing that it relates to the points I made in the session last week. We've spread wide. I think now our task is to dig deep. In other words, we're not now looking for contacts here, there, and everywhere. Of course, that's part of our work too. But the important thing is to develop our roots, to develop our understanding, and to build a proper foundations for in the future for a proper international. So that's all I want to say now.
Right, thanks, Roger. Well, without further ado, I'll now call in John Dunn, who's going to make some closing remarks. Are you there, John Dunn?
I believe I am, yes, yeah. Well, comrades, how do you close a worldwide meeting like this? How do you sum up all the momentous events that are happening throughout the world and which we observe? The beauty of this meeting shows that the growth of technology enables us to do this without writing letters, without telephone calls, without even jumping on an aeroplane to meet comrades. And as we've been meeting a comrade on another email list, when we've been discussing setting up an email list, has been sharing with me a live stream of the events in Russia, where women visiting from Belarus to show solidarity have been arrested, where it looks like the military have had to be put on the streets to quell the opposition that's growing. That is the strength of WIN, sharing things like that. And if we ever needed anything like this, then the pandemic is a clear, shining example. Let's think about it for a minute. We all know about the need to abolish capitalism, but a tiny microscopic organism, not even alive, that can't exist outside of its host for 3 days, that can be killed by simple soap and water, has brought capitalism to its knees. But unfortunately, the main sufferers of that have been our class. That pandemic has been used by unscrupulous leaders as a cull upon our class. And today in Britain, we read that 650,000 businesses are liable to go out of business as a result of this pandemic. They're not the giant corporations. They're not the massive industries that have been using the pandemic as an excuse to fire and rehire on worse conditions. These are people like myself who couldn't find employment, who had to become self-employed, who set up tiny little businesses, hairdressers, massage therapists, people like that, people who've taken on old pubs and run them for the sake of the community. They are now being sacrificed alongside industrial workers in this pandemic. And if it ever needed a coordinated opposition, that is now. But we have to be modest, comrades. We might be Marxists, but we don't have all the answers. Our Marxism is not something to be waved as a flag, as a gesture of how great we are. Our Marxism enables us to be part of the class struggle, the worldwide class struggle. And we should never be arrogant enough to believe that we are an elite, that the working class needs a vanguard operation to show it how to do things, what to do, how to organize. The working class, ordinary workers, built the pyramids, built the great cathedrals, built the great architecture of our cities, have conquered hostile environments, all without this vanguard leadership. Can you imagine a joint session of the central committees, no less, of the CWI and the IMT in session, planning on building a pyramid, discussing, taking amendments as to what shape it should be, whether it should be round, whether it should be upside down? The workers got on with it and did it, and we have to understand that. And during these times, even during lockdown, workers are coming up with tremendous initiatives that we should share. We have to be triumphant and shout about our victories, no matter how small. Here in Britain, Rolls-Royce strikers at a tiny little town, Barnoldswick, on the Lancashire border, have just beaten a multinational like Rolls-Royce that wanted to close their factory. They set up virtual pickets because of the lockdown, because they couldn't picket openly. They brought Rolls-Royce back to the negotiating table and won. Unite have just defeated another multinational, British Airways, by organising online. Comrades, we have to look at these people and learn their lessons as well. We might be able to quote the collected works of Marx, but that will stand us in no good on a picket line. It's no good telling workers that capitalism will eventually take back what it gives when they're engaged in struggle. Comrades, our Marxism is a tool that helps us get our hands dirty in workers' struggle, that when they take to the streets, our boots are there with them. When they're fighting on picket lines, our fists are joining them in solidarity. I have experienced the tremendous solidarity as a striking miner in Britain for a whole year, when the whole world rallied to our cause, sent us food, sent us aid, sent us financial assistance. People in South Africa sent bare minimums they could afford, a few £100 collected totally, to support miners in one country. That's the sort of traditions we come from, comrades, and that's the sort of traditions we have to maintain and we have to build. While we are talking, I think our manifesto is good enough. While we are talking about an amendment to this, an amendment to that, workers are living in poverty. People are holding body and soul together. Comrades, this is a fight for the survival of our class, not just from the pandemic, but from rapacious vulture capitalism. We have to show our class that by standing up and fighting, that we can win. And comrades, there is only way that our class can win, and that's by taking revenge upon the capitalists who in the past, let's face it, they've shot our leaders, they've jailed our leaders, they've sent people to the far ends of the world, but we're still here. There are no final setbacks. Comrades, we've got a world to win. Let's make sure we bring our class together, not under some revolutionary vanguard, but as a united working class. And together, comrades, next time we win.
Well, thanks, John Donald. I think that was an absolutely rousing speech, and it's got to set the tone for the way we go. And thank you very much for making it. That concludes the conference. I'd like to thank everybody for coming. I know we're all here from different time zones, and sometimes we're sat at our computers at very strange hours, but it's been an absolutely fantastic conference. Thank you for coming. Let's look forward to the future. And with that, I declare the conference closed. I understand Dave has something lined up for us. Oh, is it David Hempson? Sorry, got the wrong, too many Davids. Fantastic.
That is the choir of Abashlali. The people. That's from my hometown in Durban. The organization of the shantytown dwellers are now one of the most militant forces in the country of South Africa, fighting fearlessly against xenophobia, There's black on black violence, which is absolutely disgraceful to the nation and to the continent, taking place right now in Durban. And you'll see comrades there standing up against that xenophobia, fighting for the class, fighting for women to take the leadership, and fighting for a decent society free of capitalism in South Africa. Thanks so much.
Thank you. A very worthy end to a very good conference.